What is up, Knicks fans? I hope you are doing well. I am truly sorry to be bringing you this breakdown over the fourth quarter and overtime of Game 1. I had all plans of doing a Mitchell Robinson-centric breakdown in terms of how good he was in this game. Obviously, things change a little bit. I don't want to just start in the last 3 minutes or the last minute or overtime. I want to go, how did New York build that lead to start with in the fourth quarter with Jalen Brunson on the bench? And I thought this was a huge sequence where Siakam gets free in the ball screen. Deuce McBride comes over and protects the rim with his left hand, gets the block. And that is the highlight portion of this sequence. I also think New York has to be very smart and strategic in transition. When do we go fast? When do we slow it down? Josh Hart slows it down just a little bit here. But this is the part I love from Deuce. He maps the court. Okay, where are Pacers defenders? Where's Karl-Anthony Towns? And he sets this little transition step-in screen that gets just enough of Nesmith to get him off balance. He runs into Cat. Cat gets to the free throw line. And then here is some Mitchell Robinson love off an OG miss in transition. Here he comes running in from the three-point line, and this happened over and over. Yes, he secured some offensive rebounds, but there were a few as well that just went off Indiana for team offensive boards. But it seemed like every offensive rebound he got, whether cleanly or like that, ended up in a bucket for the New York Knicks. So if you are looking for things to be excited, encouraged about moving throughout the rest of this series, I did not think Indiana had an answer for Mitchell Robinson on the offensive board. So now Knicks are up 14. Great defensive possession from Cat as he gets the block on Siakam. Stays locked in. Siakam falls down. Eventually Nembhard misses that shot. And then again, strategic transition from New York offensively. You can't get into a track meet with Indiana, but that doesn't mean you can't push pace and be aggressive at times. He gets the early transition post up on Halliburton, something Indiana usually does, and the lead is stretched out to 16. But this is where momentum plays, right? Everybody will remember the final portions of the game, but this is a chance after timeout right here. Can New York extend it to 20, or does Indiana answer? Think about all those Knicks breakdowns I have done in their comebacks where, yeah, the other team answered and then New York slowly worked back in. Here we go. Siakam attacks Cat this time, gets into his body, shot fake, and one. That is a huge bucket that most people will not remember because we're still midway fourth quarter. New York responds. Cat with a three-point make extends it back out to 17. Yet again, another huge bucket. They're down 17 with 6 minutes. You have them on the brink right here. Nembhard, little step back mid-range. I think that guy just makes momentum buckets, and we see it right there. And then as I've talked about with Knicks comes back, the other team has to miss open shots at times, and New York had a couple of these. Cat, the post double, finds OG on the weak side, has a clean look after the shot fake, and he's simply not able to knock it down right there from the wing, up 15. Here's the response. Siakam gets in the lane, probably pushes off, doesn't call it, gets a little mid-range jumper. So some of these buckets from Indiana or the missed shot from OG are the opportunities and the shots that even had Indiana given a chance when we get a little bit later in this. And then here's a really interesting action from Indiana. And something I think we can highlight that New York struggled with defensively down the stretch of this game. So they're going to get Brunson in the ball screen action. Nothing new, right? We all know it. But now they're going to immediately bring Nesmith off the flare screen because that's a long run for Brunson. Especially in this situation, Karl-Anthony Towns has to be more engaged than this. Maybe you even get some sort of help on the weak side in rotation, but I think Cat's got to be a little bit more engaged instead of giving up the wide open three, right? In that situation, giving up the wide open three is not something you can do. But New York again responds. OG misses the three. Cat works really hard on the weak side for the offensive board. Bucket, they're back up 14 with 4 minutes to go. Now we're at 3.5, and this is where some of the defensive rebounding came into play. So Toppin's going to get a look here, and Pascal Siakam is going to get his hands on this. Bridges doesn't get a physical box out, and so when the ball bounces here, he's able to get a hand and contest it with Karl-Anthony Towns, eventually off the Knicks. And just like I highlighted with Mitchell Robinson, guess what happens out of that? Little ball screen action here. And then this is, I thought the Knicks defense was decent up until this late fourth quarter, mid fourth quarter stuff. Are you switching? Well, if you're switching, Cat's got to step up. If you're going over the top, then Bridges has to fight over the top. Neither one happens. And this is a really clean look. Like, Indiana makes some tough shots down the stretch. There is no doubt about it. But some of these are just pretty decent looks that New York cannot give up. But again, New York responds. Brunson with a little step back 3-point make, extends it right back to 14. But this is where Indiana just kept coming and kept coming. They were relentless. And yet again, I think here, Bridges is playing to take away the drive a little too much in this specific situation. I realize Haliburton is an all-around good player. He can get in here, hit floaters, all of that stuff. But with 240 up 14, I don't think you want to give him that shot, right? Make him get downhill. Spend a little more time on the clock. Make him make tough floaters and tough twos. And then now it's an 11-point game. 2 minutes to go. They bring Brunson into the action. And yet again, not great communication. We saw the Celtics do this with Drew Holiday, where instead of flaring or popping or ghosting out of this, Drew Holiday would roll into the lane. That's who Jalen Brunson was guarding. Shepherd does it here, which collapses the defense. Brunson hesitates for just a second in terms of his recovery. Pretty good contest here, but Nesmith able to get it off, knocks it down, and now we're under 10 in terms of the lead. Brunson breaks down the defense, and this is one of those opportunities you have to convert. This will be a shot that is forgotten about in terms of New York winning this game. Up 8, 140. Cat knocks this down. Who knows where this game goes? Pretty clean look. And I know you're not going to make every shot, guys. That's not what I'm saying. It's just there were some opportunities that I think can be forgotten. 7-point game now. Brunson gets in the lane. Big time right hand finish. Back up to 9. But Indiana relentless with their attack. So again, ball screen. OG now is going to be the one the next couple times. You got to step up in this situation. Again, if you step up and run him off the line, another 3-4 seconds go off. Even if it's a layup, maybe you rotate, force a few more passes, a few more seconds off the clock. But instead, a decent look. And of course, these are tough shots. Nesmith really got in a flow. I'm not saying that that's not the case. New York responds though, right? 6-point lead. Now it's an 8-point lead with 38 seconds. Like, this is where the stuff really hit with me. Everybody throws out the 2 minutes and 50 seconds and the lead there. This is the stuff that is just crazy to me when we get under a minute to go in the game. Yet again, where's the communication? Are we fighting? Are we switching? If we're switching, you can't be below the 3-point line. Like, this is going to be a deep three, but look where OG is at when Nesmith gets the ball, because there's a lack of communication or understanding of what they're doing. Again, I know it's a deep three. This is wide open for a guy that is in the flow right now because of that. And that's where the Knicks defense broke down late in this game. And then I just think this is an underrated part of the game. 5-point lead, 30 seconds. Great challenge by Carlisle, but you just have to catch and finish this if you're OG, or at least catch it and get fouled, get to the free throw line, or catch and dribble back out and waste a little more time, right? 10 seconds between the game clock and the shot clock. Whatever. The result can't be a turnover in that situation. And then I think Josh Hart does a good job fighting through the screen, but completely loses his balance here. And again, it's like great effort, but for a guy that's really in flow, gets a decent look, knocks it down. And then, of course, we know the situation here. Love Mitchell Robinson stepping over. Also, like, I'm about to cook Josh Hart for giving up a backdoor. OG has done it a couple times. Like, this could be a dump off and a layup with 2 seconds. OG has given up a couple of these. The pass just wasn't made. Just a ridiculous shot from Tyrese Haliburton to send the game into overtime. And then the thing is, overtime started a little crazy for both teams. New York actually takes momentum after a really nice cat sequence. Indiana putting 2 on Brunson. I would be interested to see if that's something we see more of. Cat with a great one-hand catch, pass to Hart, finds OG. up to a 4-point lead now for the Knicks in overtime. And then again, it's all about sequences, momentum sequences. New York, nice defensive play, forces the turnover, gets out in transition. And listen, guys, I think this is a goaltend. I think you can probably see it. I think it probably should have been called. I still am going to give credit for Miles Turner, who I did not think was good in this game, chasing that down. That's a 6-point lead if he doesn't get there. And instead, the sequence is block shot, back the other way. Tyrese Halliburton gets into the lane, holds Bridges for a second, and Andrew Nembhard just makes momentum shots. Watch that throughout the rest of the series. Whenever there's a run going one direction or the other, Andrew Nembhard is a lot of times the guy that's going to make those shots and then giving up offensive rebounds. For as much as there was talk about Mitchell Robinson on the offensive boards, all of that. Watch right here. OG just locked in, ball watching. He turns to box out, but Siakam runs right by him and Hart gets involved. So it's not just a rebound and a putback, but guess what happens out of the baseline, out of bounds? And I thought Bridges was pretty good in this game, but the Knicks they got away from what they did well all game long. Force him into the screen. That's where Cat is there to help you. You can't let him refuse it because Cat is on this side. That allows Tyrese to get downhill, plays through the contact, and he finishes. But remember, that was off an offensive rebound, a team offensive rebound that had gone out of bounds. And then again, lack of communication here. Brunson looks at Bridges like they're going to switch, hesitates for a second. Bridges doesn't think they're going to switch. This forces rotation, and that's why it matters. So now everybody's in rotation. Halliburton's over here all by himself. So you get Brunson sprinting for the flyby, and now Mitchell Robinson steps up just a little bit. And that's all Obi Toppin needs. I will also say, I've highlighted this in breakdowns before. If you are a young floor spacer shooter out there, get this in your game. Shot fake, one dribble. I know he misses it, but you have to have that in your game. That gets Robinson to bite just a little bit. No sense of urgency to step back and box out Toppin. Toppin comes in from the baseline, from the corner, gets the offensive rebound putback. It's not like New York didn't respond at times. There we see Brunson with the bucket. Here, they get Brunson on Halliburton, but just egregious here from Josh Hart. Ball watching, Andrew Nembhard makes the cut. I think he's just trying to create floor bounce. I don't even think he's truly trying to backdoor him, and that's just way too easy. And then again, Andrew Nembhard making winning plays, this time on the defensive end, fighting through this screen. OG doesn't see it. He just throws it. Nembhard gets a hand on it, goes off Brunson. Huge turnover. And then I have to say, I have no idea what New York was doing here. I don't understand why this isn't an immediate foul. There's no shot clock. You have to foul or trap OB here and see if you can force a turnover. Whatever they're doing makes zero sense to me. They looked confused. Everybody over here is denying. I have no idea what is going on. They weren't aggressive. They weren't fouling. They weren't playing defense. They give up that dunk, and then we know the last possession, the shots were not able to be made. So real meltdown in Madison Square Garden in this one. Wanted to get you a breakdown of it, but I will say this. I fully expect the Knicks to respond in game 2 and to have a heck of a series, and I'm excited to break it all down for you.